Hello YouTube, this is Justin Game 44 here, and today, well, wah ha ha ha, we are here to review Dragon 9 Realms, Dragons of the Undead. Okay, no, seriously. This episode is about Alex, which, I gotta say, I do like this one. Although, it's not really great, it is interesting what we do see here. So, let's begin. Feathers and Alex. This episode really begins them at school. Of course, technically not. It's with D'Angelo's mother, who is actually a teacher there in the building, and they're all apparently learning different things, which a lot of people were actually okay with because, finally we got to see them at school. Although I really wasn't. When I thought of school, I thought they would have been going a nearby school near the Fisher, where maybe there was another city that they would be going to with other kids. I mean, that type of thing. But here, yeah, they're technically still in the same big building that's right next to the cliffs of the Fisher. And really, D'Angelo's mother's the teacher, and it's just the four of them. I honestly think, though, June's brother is not only here because maybe he's a bit older, and perhaps he does something else. Maybe he's on the computer, and maybe he's 18 or 17. They didn't give him his actual age. I only think he's 2 or 3 years older, though. But other than that, though, what we see here is that pretty much the thing that they're all assigned with is to give a speech to the whole entire workers about something. Which, in all honesty, it's supposed to show their social abilities, not be on the internet talking to others. Which is an interesting idea. Of course, the only one that seems that will not be doing this is Alex, as she tries to use a hologram of herself, which, dang, she's really smart if she can do things like that. She's able to create a clone version of herself, but it's completely a hologram. Looks so realistic, and pretty much everyone's impressed, but says that's not going to help her pass. The point is that she has to give a speech, not the clone. And everyone is telling her the truth, and Alex is pretty much saying, yeah, you're right, but she can't do it. She's not that type of person that wants to get up in front of everyone, as she does have stage fright. So, honestly, here's what happens in this episode. They all go to the hidden world where they discover something, and to their surprise, they find a bunch of undead dragons, which I did immediately quickly notice that these dragons look a lot like Feather's design. Not really all that amazing, but there was a dead, decapitated dragon. Well, completely bones and everything, so how long it's been dead is beyond me. Unless all the flesh was eaten. But other than that, all these dragons take feathers for some reason, and everyone is now after to try to find them. It's very scared, and Alex really wants feathers back. And with this, we discover a new part of this crystal realm. Apparently, there's this very dark, open, wided, dark flatland crystal where there's a little mountain where there's a cage, and all the dragons are talking in a way. Well, not really talking, they're in sync, humming to themselves and going invisible and whatnot. Their wings are all cracked and they have horns on their heads, and every dragon is in sync, while Feathers is with her own kind up there with 2 other captured dragons. Alex has to try to gain the bravery, and she's able to get there, but with all these dragons have the exact same ability of sonic waves, it's not easy, but they do manage to finally find a way. Once they do get there, though, Alex tries to get them out, but then the problem is there's this bigger one that's way more bigger than the others, with 2 horns on each side of its head. And really, it's definitely terrifying, purple, scales, and everything. Alex, though, gains the courage, and she was able to grab one of the crystals that looks like a shield, which, in all honesty, Tom, later on in the series, does get a weapon as well that's kind of like a crystal. And I kind of thought, these writers would get ones, but June and D'Angelo don't. And by the way, guys, before you say anything, yes, her shield actually breaks. Sadly. I was kind of hoping we would get more crystal weapons, but really, no, we're not. Now, what happens in this episode is that they're all trying to. Eventually, they get back close to the entrance out, and with the luck, Feathers actually had used Sonic Wave on one of them, and to their surprise, what did we find out? Feathers and everyone else, of all those undead dragons, were actually more Featherhind dragons. And the humongous big one was a Titan Wing, which I got to admit, I really was not that impressed with its design. I was kind of imagining that someone from their fan art had made like a version of it, where it was completely like disguised itself as a big flower with feathers all around like a maid. But honestly, it was still a cool looking dragon nonetheless. I did love its color design, gold and red. It was definitely beautiful still. And then her and the other dragons fly off, and then Feathers was going to, but she actually ended up staying with Alex by her choice. Very proud. Now, this episode here is supposed to show, really, not Tom, Alex's bravery, where she's able to find her inner hero self and actually save Feathers and gain the courage what she needs to do. Honestly, that was like with season 1 ending, where all the writers were in danger except for her because she wasn't there. She was too scared to, but then out of nowhere she gains the courage to immediately be there and help. Which, I gotta say, that's pretty much what Alex is. She's scared, but when she knows she needs to do something to help her or save her friends, she will do it. And honestly, she gains the courage, and then... Well, there is one more other thing that happens to this. D'Angelo does get bitten, and thinks he's going to turn into a zombie, and, well, there's a few jokes we get there. But he came to realize at the end of the episode, he's not turning into a zombie. That's something I have seen many times before, though, but it's okay. And at the end, they're all cheering and happy, and that's that. No, seriously, that's that. This is where the problem I really gotta start bringing up. This seems like what the problem with Dragon 9 Realms is. Like, yeah, we do get to see what they do in the hidden world a lot. Like, they're having adventures, they're doing this, but we don't see what they do up in the surface. Like in last episode when I mentioned the whole entire... They made shadows, but they never mentioned it or never showed it. They just have it in the next episode, and everyone is like, oh, like nothing new really, because they weren't in the first episode, but like it clearly shows time had passed. Like they should have made an episode why they needed to make shadows, or why would they make them, and where do they got it. They could have made it come up a few ideas, but yeah, other than that, that's pretty much it here. I mean, really, we don't see that much what they try to do as a writer team. Why did they make the decision to get, like, the whole entire sensors they needed from the Fisher into the hidden world so they can track down the dragons? What caused that to happen? What got them to decide to do that? And really, well, that's kind of thing. We don't really see those type of things happen. Now, this was still a good episode. Not really one of my favorites. I really was not a big fan with the whole entire dark purplish atmosphere. But at the very least, it was still a good episode. And I kind of wish, though, at the ending, they would have shown Alex being on the stage and where she gave her speech. And really, honestly, she's proud of what she was able to do and conquer her fear of stage fright. But no, they didn't do that. That's kind of a disappointment, I would say. And really, that's also another thing. Besides not showing what they do, how they make these things or do things, they don't show after what they do after they come home, really. Like, oh yeah, they're cheering in the hidden world, but we don't see the aftermath this. So they lost. So we basically, it's up to our imaginations what happens. Now, other than that, though, this was still a good episode, like I said, but I do think they could have done a little bit more. Maybe they took lessen up the jokes with the whole entire D'Angelo thinking he's turning into a zombie thing. I mean, I've seen that in other episodes, but in other shows, but still, this was like, yeah, that type of joke again. I have seen that joke where someone thinks they're turning into a zombie when they're not. But really, besides all that, this was still a good show, and I do think it was good. But really, this episode was still not great, I would say. Now, without all that, this is Justin Game 44 signing out. Until then, I will see you later. Bye!